We are going to discuss the residential purchase agreement. So this is the offer that you would be submitting. So just to go through it real quick, we're going to go ahead and put today's date. The buyer's information is going to be placed here, the property address, the parcel number, zip code, the county that it's located, and of course the sale price that you would like to submit the offer in. Now, of course, here is going to be the earnest money deposit, which if your offer is accepted, then that is the initial deposit that will require. And again, usually it's submitted through a wire within 48 hours. And it's going to go to the escrow holder that we decide on who we're going to go ahead and put in place at. Okay. Then right here, it's going to be based on if you are going to get a loan on it. It's going to either go conventional, FHA, VA. And then of course, here is going to be the balance that is going to be required. If you are doing a standard loan, then of course, depending on the amount that we decided that you were going to come in with, if the total down payment was going to be 3%, 3.5%, 5 or 20%, or whatever amount that you guys decided onto, it'll then be required here. If you are getting any assistance money from the government, that's going to go ahead and, be here minus that assistance money there. The total purchase price is here. So basically, if you add up this money, and then this money, then this should be the grand total, which is then the same as here. So it's basically plus equals this amount, which again, it should equal to this amount. Okay, so then we're going to go right here. Since most of you have done already an application, it's basically 0 days. Appraisal contingency, that gives us the amount of days to complete the appraisal. So if we have any issues with the value of the property, then we would have to go ahead and disclose that to the seller and the listing agent that is helping the seller with selling the property. We would have to disclose that within those 18-day periods. Loan contingency means that we would need to get your loan finalized within 25 days. That's why it's very important to keep in contact with your lender weekly and ask them if they need any documents, how's it going, and so on. All right, so here, very important. So if you see a property that has a refrigerator that you want, any personal property that is considered personal property, whatever the case is, if it's not built in, meaning built-in appliances, then of course, then it's considered personal property. But anything else that you want, some of the examples are going to be right here. Then we would put them in this item. For example, if there was a refrigerator, washer, and dryer, and the listing indicated that the property did not include them, but you said, hey, you know what? I want that refrigerator, whatever brand it is. I want that washer and dryer, again, whatever brand it is. I want them to include it. We will put it here as additional items in here. Okay. Just to let you know right here, your name is going to be here. The property address is going to be here. Escrow, basically escrow company. We would choose the title company here. The escrow officer there. And then of course, right here, the close of escrow is going to be here. That means the day that we would close, meaning that your lender would fund, the escrow company would record, and of course the day that you would get your keys. So this day right here is something that you need to be aware of as well. Excuse me. Buyer's due diligence. So once we go into contract, we have 10 days to do all our inspections. Home inspection, of course, on resale or new properties, whichever you decide. Usually the inspection is going to cost, depending on the square footage, the type of property, it could be anywhere from $200 to $500. If it has a pool, then you would want the inspector to do that. Now, take in mind, it's a general inspection. They cannot take things apart. They cannot do certain things. If you want to get a roof inspection, we would then have to go ahead and do a roof inspection. But normally people just get the general home inspection where they go do that, and then I'll explain that on another video. Other than that, once we going back on that home inspection, if something comes back and you want the seller to repair certain items, then we would have to get that agreement within the 10 days that's indicated right there. Okay, so and then again, it tells you all the inspections that you're able to do. Right here, it's your responsibility to pay for the home inspection. And then these are other ones. So depending, like if there's a property that had a well inspection, this would be sent out, and would be most likely the expense of the buyer. Pool inspection, if your property does have a pool, we would put here if you want to get inspected, but again, that goes in with the general inspector. Just to let you know, pool inspections usually cost a little bit more money, but other than that, we would go there. And then of course, buyer's request for repairs has to be done within that time period, or that due diligence. Diligence basically means that it's our responsibility as your buyer's agent and you as the buyer to submit all the disclosures within that time frame. Okay, here we go with the fees and prorations. So basically, escrow fees usually split 50-50. Real property transfer tax, again, the seller usually pays for this. Lender's title policy, that's basically kind of like a Carfax, indicating that the property is going to be clear of all liens or basically you want a clean title, and that's what the escrow company is going to go ahead and do. Appraisal, if you are going through a program and the lender is going to go ahead and pay for the appraisal, but normally the buyer is responsible on paying the appraisal. It's going to be usually about $600, unless, again, if you're going through one of our programs, then the appraisal is usually at no cost to them. There's an appraisal that's going to be completed, because of course it's a one of the guidelines through all lenders that they have to make sure that the value is coming in. And again, if the value is lower, then we would have to submit an addendum indicating, hey, your property didn't appraise at the value that you wanted to sell it. So we are asking you to lower your price, and then we go back into negotiations. All right, so the seller is responsible for their own title policy to make sure that once the sale goes through, everything is clear for them. All right, so then, and then it gives you a little explanation of what the preliminary title report. Again, it's kind of like a Carfax for a property. Closing fees. This is if we are asking for closing fees. This is the amount that right here. And then of course, we're going to go ahead and put include. That means that your closing fees are going to be paid by the seller and the specific amount. So your closing cost may be $10,000, and we might put, $8,000 because we want to be strong on it. Remember that $2,000 difference would have to come out of your pocket. Usually the way you want to calculate closing costs, it's depending on the program, the bank, the lender. If you're buying down interest rates, it could be anywhere from generally to 2% of the purchase price. So again, if you're buying a $400,000 house, 2% is $8,000. If you're buying the interest rates on a normal transaction or a normal loan, FHA, conventional, then it could be up to 5 points. So 5% of the purchase price would be $20,000 there. So again, depending on the bank, depending on the lender, depending on the program, there's certain guidelines that we have to follow. So we have to make sure, because some lenders, they say, hey, you know what, the seller cannot pay more than 2 to 3% of the purchase price of the property. Then the home protection plan is the home warranty. The home warranty is going to be that we're going to require the seller to go ahead and pay for the home warranty. Again, remember, the home warranty is good for 1 year. Depending on this amount, we could change. Usually home warranties For your general one, it could be anywhere from $450 up to $610. Adding the pool, adding this. So if you want, you could check into different home warranty companies. Usually I'll give you a list of home warranty companies, so then you could do your own research if you want to select one. Again, if there is a difference and the amount is here, then of course the buyer would pay for the difference. Meaning that if the home warranty is $700 and the seller agreed to pay up to $540, then it would be your responsibility to pay the difference through the close of escrow. All right, so if your property is in an HOA, we are asking the seller to go ahead, and this would be then indicated the seller to pay for these HOA setup fees, contributions, CIC demands, whichever follows. It would be, we would put the seller would be responsible to pay for that. Okay, so then seller's real property disclosure, that is a form that you would be getting within usually about 5 days once we open escrow. Again, opening escrow means that the seller agreed to your offer or counter offers, or that we've made an agreement. Seller's real property disclosure will indicate of any issues that they had while living at the property. If they did not live at the property and say it was a rental, it's going to indicate that it was a rental property or what so. Okay, and then I'll send you a kind of a brief video in regards to what to look out for on a seller's real property disclosures, aka SRPD. All right. So then once we have your loan finalized, we are going to go do a walkthrough. Usually it's the day of or the day before or the weekend before we go sign your final loan documents at the title company. And right there, if we scheduled any repairs, you could organize it with the inspector to go out there. If there are minimal repairs or if there's no repairs, we just want to make sure that before we close, the house is the same as we reviewed the property. Okay, if the property was, of course, is being occupied by a tenant or by the owner, that we want to make sure that the property is vacant, cleared up, cleaned up. So then we could go ahead and give the thumbs up to the escrow company to go ahead and close. Delivery of possession, depending on what we put on the contract, but usually COE stands for close of escrow. Or if we said, hey, you know what, we're going to give the owners a couple of days after we close, then we are going to go ahead and indicate something out here. But usually we put the close of escrow. All right. Mediation, if there's any conflict between today and let's say when we're going to close and someone cancels or whatever the case is, we are going to go in front of a mediator, so then we could try to make some sort of understanding of, hey, you know, if you cancel and they want to keep your money, your earnest money deposit, you know, and we try to resolve these things. We don't go in front of a small claims court. What we do is we go in front of a mediator and we try to get this resolved as soon as possible. It could take anywhere from 30 days up to 6 months, but other than that, we're just agreeing that we're going to go in front of a mediator. Okay. Other than that, we are going to go down here, and again, here's all your what EMD stands for, if so on. And then again, if there's any additional terms, if it's a probate, if it's a different, how can you say, if there's any special terms that we agreed on. Probate is something that we could go through. There's not that many probate properties, just so you can know. Probate means if the owner passed away, then it would have to go in front of a court. But again, I'll have another video indicating on what a probate has to be involved in. This is going to be, of course, my broker, Pablo, and then the company that I work with, his license number, and then of course my license number, and my information's right here. And then it's going to indicate that we have no relations, meaning that we're not family. But other than that, right here, again, big common question is, when am I going to get a decision? Usually we put here, if it's over the weekend, we'll say Monday, Tuesday. If we do it during the week, we usually give them 2 days. If it's, say, for instance, we submit the offer in on Friday, then most likely it's going to be on Monday or Tuesday. Sometimes we could get a response sooner. Okay. Other than that, that is your offer. The decisions that the seller can make is going to be here. It's going to be right here. If they accept your offer, that means whatever we wrote on this offer, they are going to go ahead and accept the terms and go with all the dates that we specified, or the compliance dates or contingency dates, I'm sorry. Other than that, if we get a counter offer, then the counter offer, what they usually counter offer is on the price, closing costs, the fees, and so on. The little things that I indicated on this. If they don't like your offer and they don't really want to deal with us, then they're going to go ahead and reject it. Sometimes the rejection doesn't mean that they don't want to deal with us, is that they have already accepted an offer. So we usually sometimes try to just do the common courtesy of just say, hey, we rejected your offer. Or sometimes we'll get an email or text indicating that the seller has agreed to go with another offer, and they are just going to kindly give us a rejection of this format, or an email or a text indicating that they're not going to go move forward with it. Once they reject our offer, then of course, if they didn't accept an offer, we could submit a better offer. Another common question is, if we get a counter offer and we want to take our time on making the decision, counter offer, we could, if we don't like their counter offer, we could submit another counter offer. Say for instance, we submitted a offer at $400,000 and they want to sell the property at $420,000. They come back at $410,000, and they get another offer in between our counter offers. The seller could go ahead and accept that. But usually what you could do is you could say, hey, you know what? We're not going to buy your property at $410,000. We'll give you $405,000. Again, if nothing is executed and the sellers receive something in between that time, they can accept it. So just to let you know, if you have questions in regards to how that works, because sometimes it's a little confusing, always give me a call. If you want a better understanding on this, always give me a call, 702-418-8783. James Sanchez, aka Jaime Sanchez, with United Realty, Las Vegas, Nevada. Thank you so much.